Hello, everybody. I'm just posting on Facebook to get it so that y'all jump on. And okay, I see that Kim Rain says that she's on. But I'm not seeing her come up, so hopefully more of you jump on here soon. And I'm just going to make sure. Jake just opened me up on his phone so he could make sure that it was working. So it did work. That's good. I could hear myself. Okay, 3 viewers. Great. This is great. Thank you for jumping on. So what I would love is if you do have questions, because we found last week that I wasn't able to get more than 10 people on. And I love seeing your faces, but at the same time, I really like it that we could get more than 10 people on, because right now we're at 8 and I'm sure more are going to jump on. So if you have questions, feel free to box me those or post on Facebook where I've said get on Google Hangout, or text message me too, any of those questions, so that way I know. Thank you, Allie Ernest. She just let me know that she's on. Thank you. In fact, let's keep all of our communication maybe in one place, and why don't you just text me, and that way I will know that way. Okay, let's see here. All right, Nicole, you just messaged in our group saying, can someone invite me on? Hopefully you made it on, and you just have to click on that link for this hangout. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and I have some really exciting news to share. First of all, congratulations on an amazing January. We did phenomenally, and I'm just so proud of all of our areas. Our directors are working hard. I know Kristen Gerda had, I think it was 13 appointments up when I talked to her yesterday, for this week only. So a couple of things for you to be remembering right now. It is time for your booking B, for your book 10. That's one and the same. Book 10 means getting 10 appointments up in your date book before the 5th of the month. And when you do that, you get a cute little B charm. And that B charm stands for so much more. And we'll tell you about that, of course, when we pin you at a meeting. But just know that that's such a big, great thing for you to do to be successful with your business, because then you're working smart. You're booking up your date book, potentially and hopefully for now through the 15th of this month. And then you basically will have done another booking B by holding those appointments and booking bookings from those appointments for the 15th through the end of this month. And so I hope that that's helping all of you, and I hope that you're working hard on your booking B. There's also some fun changes to come with some things coming up. So I want you to stay tuned and make sure you stay plugged in, because you're going to want to be the first to know all these fun things that are happening. And then other announcements would be that we have 2 brand new DIQs and 1 brand new on-target car driver. So congratulations to Heather Jackson and her team. They are now DIQ and on-target car. Heather, you are such an inspiration to so many. The fact that you're working your business hard and smart. We heard Leah Lachlan say the other night that it's smart to work hard and to work smart, and she thinks that you need both. And I love that she said that. And so I totally agree with that. You're working hard and you're working smart. You have a full-time job, and yet you're still putting Mary Kate into your life where you can manage to fit it, and it is working for you. The paychecks that come from that are incredible, but really the paychecks that you're going to get are the women's lives that you're changing from doing that, from you stepping out in faith and you encouraging them to get started with their own Mary Kay business. Well, another DIQ we have is Allie Ernest. And I just want to tell you and your team that I am so incredibly proud of you as well. We're building this Bombshell National area. It is happening, and we would love for all of you to jump on board and join the train, because the train's leaving the station. We got the momentum last January, and this year we're breaking through the brick wall, and we're having so many breakthroughs. And I've had so many great conversations, coaching conversations with so many of you who are having breakthroughs this year. You're working your businesses, you're doing your book 10, you're working your party plan, and you're just really out for a reason, for a purpose, whether it's for your family or, financial needs or emotional needs or whatever it is. You're finding those needs in yourself, and you are working to fill them. So I'm so incredibly proud of each of you for, figuring out your why, and for being on this hangout. There are so many other things you could be doing, but you're choosing to be on here. So congratulations, Allie and Heather. Yay! Bombshell National Area, here we come. Okay, next thing, I do want to talk to you a little bit about who our top 5 in the rankings for the Pacesetters program are right now. And so we do have a top 5 because thank you, you all turned in your points on Sunday. And my assistant Haley will be posting these. Just be patient with her because she is in school to be an anesthesiologist. Nothing tough or anything. But so she gets into my office when she can, and she's learning things. She's brand new, so she's learning. But I want to say congratulations to our number 1 women. We have Kate Moses and Pam who are tied for first place. In number 2 position, we have another tie between Kayla Connor and Kaya. And then number 3 position, we have Crystal Myers and Heather Jackson tied for number 3. In the number 4 position, Ellie Conrath along with Kim Raines. And the number 5, and tied for number 4. So it's Heather Jackson, Ellie Conrath, Ellie Conrath, Kim Raines, and Nicole. Nicole is also tied for number 4. And in number 5, currently, we have Allie Ernest. And so this week, y'all know that you're going to be pushing again. And there's a couple of questions I've had about what some of these things mean. So I wanted to review that with you. The first thing you're going to do for your Pacesetters Challenge for this week would be text your #MyBreakthrough picture to your director. What I would love for that to be, because I think it's so important to start your month strong with a goal poster. So I want you to text a picture of your goal poster to your sales director. So that way she knows that you're visually seeing things, but also it's going to make you want to do that. So that way you can see it everywhere you go. You know, when you see a goal, you're that much more likely to achieve it. There's some crazy statistic out there that it's somewhere, and Lindsay could correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure it's like 85% of or 95% of goal posters come true. And so it doesn't mean that they come true exactly in the time maybe, but they come true, and that's what we want. So we want a picture and text that to your director of your breakthrough, your goal poster. Next, complete your book 10 by February 5th. So when you get 10 appointments on your date book, and what we would like, now, you know, I want you to get 10 appointments up, however that takes. But remember, when you're working this business, we'll give you points for just 10. But I'd love for your 10 to actually be coached classes with guests pre-profiled, or at least their names and numbers so that you can do that. And have them, you know, kind of confirmed and ready to go. So not just that it's, you know, 10 individual facials or 10 separate guests to meeting. It would be awesome if you could get 10 parties on your date book for the month of February and have those coached and pre-profiled, or at least the list of the invitees that are coming if you want to really have a strong February. The next thing would be mail a commitment letter to your director by February 7th. So make sure you get her address, and the commitment letter could just be what you're committed to in your life, what you're committed to in your business, and you can take that however you want. If you want to do short-term goals just for this month and maybe get in that habit of just writing out and monthly letting her know, and you don't have to mail it every month, but maybe that would be a great starting place for you. Or it can be, you know, what I want to do this quarter or this year. But I want those written commitment forms. And the reason why is because when you write things, you're so much more likely to get behind it and to remember it and to accomplish it. And so that's the goal behind that. The next would be register for your local career conference. You get a lot of points for doing that. Definitely get registered for career conference, whatever's local to you. It's just so important that you attend events. You know, I would say most of us sales directors will tell you that we attended a company event that flipped a switch for us, that really did something for us and changed our thought process. So you can get 70,000 points of registering for career conference by Sunday. The next thing is tweeting a victory using #MyBreakthrough. And so definitely tweet your victories, the things that are happening, because so many of you are having huge victories. I know Heather Jackson added 9 team members last month. That's huge. And your directors are representing that too. Lindsay silver medaled last month, and so did I. So we're out in the field and we're working too right alongside of you. In fact, Lindsay and I have something fun we're going to announce most likely this next Monday, so you don't want to miss it. Yeah, it'll be fun. Okay, next thing I want to talk to you about is coming ahead and your Pacesetters in the future. There's one thing that says watch video on money management, and that's for week 2. I'm going to say that's the Silver Wing Scholar videos that I want you to watch on money management. The rest of those seem pretty self-explanatory. And I was just making sure that that all does, except for the DISC in week 3. DISC, you can actually Google that and take your personality quiz online if you just Google that. And I'm pretty sure that's about it as far as, you know, what you're wanting for your business. Okay, and your pace setters class, sorry. All right, now the next thing I wanna do is I hope that you have dropped everything and purchased this book and you're reading this book. I have chosen to do it on my $1 Million Message, and so I read a chapter every day. I do it selfishly. The selfish reason I do it is because I have found that it's harder to find time to read, and so I'm kind of recording me reading so that way you can hear it, have breakthroughs with me, but also that I get my reading done for the day. But this book, The One Thing, has been a huge difference maker in my business. And I don't know if any of you feel the same way. If so, I'd love your input. You can text me your feelings or thoughts, because it definitely is something that I know has changed a lot of people's lives. But this book, The One Thing, I want to pull out some stuff for you. And one of the things I want to tell you, there are some questions that you can ask yourself that are really going to help you in your life, not just your Mary Kay business. I was reading through this last night with some of the Kent consultants. And as we were reading, we were like, oh my gosh, this doesn't just help you with, you know, your business. This helps you in life. And so let's do this together really quickly. I want you to think of your lofty, like someday goal in Mary Kay. And you can apply this to every area. We just found it easier last night to talk about your Mary Kay goal, because we kind of all have that in common, and you can dream a little bit bigger in your Mary Kay. Because I asked someone, I was like, what's your, you know, someday goal in your teaching job? And she was like, to get out of it. I'm like, okay, well, that's not going to work very well. So what is your someday goal? Like, really think deep with me. Like, say it out loud if you can, but what is your someday goal with your Mary Kay business? Okay, what's the one thing you want someday? And then back that down. Your 5-year goal, based on your someday goal of whatever that was you chose, what's the one thing you can do in the next 5 years? Okay, so what's the one thing you could do in the next 5 years based off of that goal? All right, and based off of the 5-year goal, what's the one thing you can do this year? What's the one thing you could do this year? And I hope you're stating out loud what these things are. The one thing you could do this year. And based on your 1-year goal, the thing you're doing this year, what's the one thing you can do in February? What's the one thing you could do this month? Okay, think about that. What is it? Based off of that, what's the one thing you can do this week? Okay, this week. Daily goal. Based off of your one thing you could do this week, what's the one thing you can do today? Okay, what's the one thing you could do today? And then based on your daily goal, what's the one thing you can do right now? Okay, what's the one thing you could do right now? And so this book goes over your one thing, and it talks about how we can have one things in more than one area of our life. Like you want to have a one thing for your spiritual life. What one thing do you want to achieve someday with your spiritual life? And then back that down, 5 years, 1 year, monthly goal. And then what are you doing right now? So if you're talking spiritual, it could be, you know, I just want to be an amazingly godly woman for my children to follow. So much so that they look at me and they see nothing but love for them, love for others. And then you break that down, 5-year goal, etc., until you get to the point where right now, what can I do? What I can do right now is make sure that I show my kids or show Kinley love in the way I can, you know, or whatever it may be. So you break that down all the way from your someday goal down to your right now goal. And if you imagine doing that with your business, what it does for you is it eliminates distraction. And so I really kind of took this to heart. And honestly, y'all, I wrote like my someday goal in the book. I think you should buy the book and do the same thing. And then I broke it all the way down. And my right now goal, I almost just said it, is get out of the house. Like right now, what I could do is I could get out of the house, or it's late, so I could, you know, book one appointment. And figuring out what your one thing is allows you to focus, because what this book talks about is making sure your one thing does get done. It gets done no matter what. You get it done every single day. And in fact, you block 4 hours of time out of your day to make sure you get it done. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that gave me heart palpitations at first. But when you read the book, which I'm strongly encouraging you to do, you'll understand that what he means is that way you become someone who is a maker. In those 4 hours, you make things happen for yourself and for your business. So that way, for the rest of the day that you're not doing that, you can be a manager. And that means you could be a little bit more reactive versus proactive. Does that make sense? So if you're focusing on this one thing, and the question that the one thing is kind of all based off of, you will get so much more finished, and you're going to feel like you are accomplished. Okay. So the question that you can ask yourself, which is the question for the one thing, is hang on, I got to find it to make sure I quote it correctly, because this is so good. I don't want to misquote it. And he asked this all throughout, and I really want you to write this down. If you don't have a piece of paper, please make sure you write this down, because it's really stinking good. And you will want to write it and ask yourself this over and over and over again. And why can't I find it? In the meantime, I'm going to read you something that Allie Ernest just texted me, because we worked through this together. And I want you to know that she really got something out of it. She says to me, in a text message, when you walked me through these questions this week, it helped things click in my head so much. Plus, having my goals and saying them out loud makes me so much more accountable. And that's so true. So maybe it's even just sharing it with your sales director. Here's the question today. What's the one thing I can do for my one thing, such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? So what's the one thing I can do that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? And if you attended our Rev Up session, in January when we talked about this, we kind of broke it down to our area. What our area is going to be doing are parties. We're going to party our way to success, and we know and we believe that. So the one thing we want to get really solid on are doing parties, making sure we have the best parties of anyone out there. And that's why we did our Jumpstart the way we did it. So what's the one thing you can do for your spiritual life? What's the one thing you could do for your emotional life? What's the one thing you could do for your family? What's the one thing you could do for your financial situation? What's the one thing you could do for yourself, such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? And ask that question of yourself and really let it resonate, let it sit, and think about that. In your business, what is the one thing you could do, such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? I'd love to even know your answers after this Google Hangout. If you would share that, I would love to know that. And I'm going to leave you. I know this is short, but that's what I want to keep these, is pretty short, and just open for conversation on our Facebook pages. I'm going to leave you with 2 stories, because they really mean a lot to me. And I hope I've encouraged you to purchase this book. In fact, let me read you a little reason why you should buy this book. You want less. You want fewer distractions and less on your plate. The barrage of emails, text calls, and meetings keep you from your most important work. Simultaneous demands of work and family take a toll. What's the cost? Second-rate work, missed deadlines, smaller paychecks, and lots of stress. You want more productivity from your work, more income for a better lifestyle. You want more satisfaction from life and more time for yourself, your family, and your friends. Now you can have both, less and more. In the one thing, you'll learn to cut through the clutter, achieve better results in less time, dial down the stress, overcome that overwhelmed feeling, revive your energy, stay on track. The one thing delivers extraordinary results in every area of your life: work, personal, family, and spiritual. Buy the book. It's good. Okay. One more thing I forgot to share with you. So I was really motivated by something he talked about called time blocking. And it's blocking days out in your date book, where in chunks of time, the 4 hours out, and you just barricade yourself into a room that has no distractions to finish your one thing. So for me, I've kind of decided that right now I don't have a ton of leads to work through. Actually, that's changing, because I kind of have made that change. But I didn't have a lot of leads to work through. So for me, my one thing was getting out of the house in order to get leads, okay, so that I could have appointments. Because I know bookings are what the key is, because I can take new consultants to bookings, to parties with me, to see a party and train them. I can do a party and do sharing appointments right there on the spot and add new team members. I can do everything right there at a party. So what I need to do is go meet new people. And so that was my one thing. And so my one thing that I've been saying is getting one booking, because it'd be easy for me to say go meet people, but I need it to be results focused. So meeting people is fun for me. I could go meet 10, but if I don't have a result tied to that, then I don't feel as accomplished. So my result has been getting one booking out of those things I've been doing. And so I want you to know, and I did it today too, so I can red X it. I have this calendar now, and it's really a great calendar. It's like a desk calendar, and it's paper. And every day that I do my one thing, I'm allowed to take a red permanent marker and do an X. So I can just X through my boxes. And what he talks about is the fact, oops, sorry, I hit my computer, is the fact that when you do these X's, you want them to look like a chain link. You want to do your one thing as much as you possibly can. And I totally believe that, so much so that let me read this thing to you. In On Writing, Stephen King describes his workflow. My own schedule is pretty clear-cut. Mornings belong to whatever is new, the current composition. Afternoons are for naps and letters. Evenings are for reading, family Red Sox games on TV, and any revisions that just cannot wait. Basically, mornings are my prime writing time. 4 hours a day may scare you more than King's novels, but you can't argue with his results. Stephen King is one of the most successful and prolific writers of our time. Whenever I tell this story, there's always one person who says to me, well, sure, it's easy for Stephen King. He's Stephen King. To this, I simply say, I think the question you must ask yourself is this: does he get to do this because he is Stephen King? Or is he Stephen King because he did this? This invariably stops that question cold. So true. And so I hope you're inspired. It doesn't have to be go buy a desk calendar, but maybe for you, it's make X's in your date book to make sure that you're doing your one thing every day and you have the appropriate amount of time blocked out for it. And I know some of you are coming up with objections. I had those same objections, like, what about Kinley? How do I get 4 hours? I have to breastfeed every 2, but he covers that in the book. So I'm just giving you little tidbits to hopefully encourage you to read this. Okay. So the first story I want to read to you that really I think is so good and a very great story for us to end on is this. One evening, an elder Cherokee told his grandson about a battle that goes on inside all people. He said, my son, the battle is between 2 wolves inside us. One is fear. It carries anxiety, concern, uncertainty, hesitancy, indecision, and inaction. The other is faith. It brings calm, conviction, confidence, enthusiasm, decisiveness, excitement, and action. The grandson thought about it for a moment and then meekly asked his grandfather, which wolf wins? The old Cherokee replied, the one you feed. So are you feeding your fear or are you feeding your faith? Last story. One evening, I'm going to start a little bit sooner than this. So how do you live a life of no regrets? The same way your journey to extraordinary results begins, with purpose, priority, and productivity, with the knowledge that regret must be avoided and can be, with your one thing at the top of your mind and the top of your schedule, with a single first step we can all take. I believe the best way to share this is in a story. One evening, a young boy hopped up on his father's lap and whispered, Dad, we don't spend enough time together. The father, who dearly loved his son, knew in his heart this was true and replied, you're right, and I'm so sorry, but I promise I'll make it up to you. Since tomorrow is Saturday, why don't we spend the entire day together? Just you and me. It was a plan, and the boy went to bed that night with a smile on his face, envisioning the day, excited about the adventurous possibilities with his pops. The next morning, the father rose earlier than usual. He wanted to make sure he could still enjoy his ritual cup of coffee with the morning paper before his son awoke, wound up and ready to go. Lost in thought, reading the business section, he was caught by surprise when suddenly his son pulled the newspaper down and enthusiastically shouted, Dad, I'm up, let's play. The father, although thrilled to see his son and eager to start the day together, found himself guiltily craving just a little more time to finish his morning routine. Quickly racking his brain, he hit upon a promising idea. He grabbed his son, gave him a hug, and announced that their first game would be to put a puzzle together. And when that was done, well, we will head outside to play for the rest of the day. Earlier in his reading, he had seen a full-page ad with a picture of the world. He quickly found it, tore it into little pieces, and spread it out on the table. He found some tape for his son and said, I want to see how fast you can put this puzzle together. The boy enthusiastically dove right in, while his father, confident that he had now bought some extra time, buried himself back in his paper. Within minutes, the boy once again yanked down his father's newspaper and proudly announced, Dad, I'm done. The father was astonished, for what lay in front of him, whole, intact, and complete, was the picture of the world, back together as it was in the ad, and not one piece out of place. In a voice mixed with parental pride and wonder, the father asked, how on earth did you do that so fast? The father asked, Sorry, the young boy beamed. It was easy, Dad. I couldn't do it at first, and I started to give up. It was so hard. But then I dropped a piece on the floor, and because it's a glass top table, when I looked up, I saw that there was a picture of a man on the other side. That gave me an idea. When I put the man together, the world just fell into place. I first heard this innocent narrative when I was a teenager, and I've never been able to shake it. It became a tale I continually retell in my head and ultimately a central theme in my life. What struck me isn't the apparent issue with the life balance the father had, though certainly I got that. What grabbed me and stuck with me was the inspired solution of the son. He cracked a deeper code, a simple and more straightforward approach to life, a starting point for any challenge we face personally or professionally. The one thing we must all understand if we are to achieve extraordinary results at our highest level possible, undoubtedly, unquestionably, is that success is an inside job. Put yourself together and your world falls into place. When you bring purpose to your life, know your priorities, and achieve high productivity on the priority that matters most every day, your life makes sense, and then extraordinary becomes possible. All success in life starts within you. You know what to do. You know how to do it. Your next step is simple. You are the very first domino. I hope that hit you like it did me. Success is an inside job. So figure out your one thing. If you need help with your from your sales director with this, please reach out to us and let us know. And I hope you post online, what you loved about this Google Hangout and all of your ahas. And I just want to say how proud of you I am. So thank you so much for jumping on tonight and taking time out of your day. I hope you implement some of these things and definitely buy the one thing. Make tonight great. Bye.